Welcome to the Rachel and Ron Show, featuring fun and deep discussions about the things that affect female entrepreneurs most, as well as tangible tools to grow their business, all the while living their best lives. And now, give it up for your hosts, Rachel and Ron.
Oh. Hey, Ron. Good morning.
Hey. Good morning, Rachel. How's it going?
It's great. It's
good.
A good, beautiful, sunny morning here in Denver.
I know, it's going to be 60 degrees today.
I am so happy. That's why we live here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Forget those Californians with their perfect weather. We got perfect weather.
You know what? My grandfather used to always say, if it weren't for the rainy days, you wouldn't appreciate the sunny ones. So we can only have 300 days of sunshine a year, not 365.
And how
we
many
need
of those
the perspective.
For sure, perspective. How many of those are even rainy? Like, I'm from Chicago, you know what I mean? Like, we talk about it. Like, yeah, no, this is heaven. Like, winters here are gorgeous. Like,
totally.
We spend so much time outside. So, Rachel, you had big news. I feel like you were saying last night, you were like, we're on the phone, you were telling me you got stuff going on.
We got stuff going on. Okay, first of all, can we talk about my hair?
Yeah.
Okay.
Looks great.
Thanks. Well, we talked about your hair for the last couple of weeks, so I just felt like it was my turn. My daughters are, well, first of all three of my kids, because they're the same age. It's their Hebrew birthday tomorrow. They are turning 12, and I can't even believe it. Adam and I are just like beside ourselves at how this happened. Anyway, so when a girl turns 12, they become a bat mitzvah. And so we have a big celebration this weekend. And so we've been preparing for that. Anyway, as they're growing up, they bought themselves for each other for their birthday. They bought themselves this new crimper, which is more like a beach wave. And I got into it yesterday.
I'm going to say it looks fabulous, and I don't use that word lightly.
Thanks. I'm just trying it out. I feel like, you have to be willing to try things.
I got into it. You really did. I mean, you made it. Like, you made that crimper, like, know what it's worth. Like, it's worth a lot.
It's so funny. I know. Yeah. But I just love that, like, I'm sharing now my daughters and their hair iron and whatever. But anyway, yeah, so it's just like such a good week. I'm feeling really good and excited and just really grateful to be getting to a special milestone. And so, yeah.
How was your week?
Are they nervous? I think like a little bit nervous. It's different because we're doing the Zoom thing. Like, it's not like they're going to be standing up in front of hundreds of people in synagogue or anything like that. They're going to be delivering to basically what I call the dot, Yeah. So it's definitely different. But they've done a beautiful job preparing and learning and everything for this moment. Yeah. Yeah. Tell me.
Oh, well, I remember my bar mitzvah, like, it was like my first set. I'd never done a set before. And like, like, the material was fine, but like, I just remember being like, this is, and it was a big conservative synagogue in Chicago in Highland Park. And I was like, this feels good. Like, so I remember like, I had this great the moment of like figuring out, but my niece is having her bat mitzvah this year too in August. So hopefully same thing.
Oh, that's exciting.
Yeah. She's not excited about it. She's not a fan, but
I'm sorry.
Rachel,
wait, tell me. Wait, I want to know about this. Like, your bar mitzvah, was that the first time you felt like, whoa, I have arrived? Like, when you were on the stage or the bima, like, did that feel like, yes, this is my sweet spot right here?
Yeah, this is what's so funny. Yeah, like, and so I had never, I did a play for my mom. My mom had a Hebrew school. We lived in Australia from the time I was 2 to 9 in Melbourne, Australia. And so my mom created a Hebrew school because she just has a talent for finding Jews. She's like, where are they? Oh, you come to the party. And so she made a Hebrew school, which was really cool in the 80s. And so she did like a school play and for Purim, and I was in it. In typical Rama Joseph, I quit and then I came back, and I have drama with acting. But so from the time I was 7, I think, to 13, I'd never really gone on stage that much. And this was like this huge audience. And I was like, I was surprised. I thought I'd be nervous. Like, I was very anxious. And so I was like, oh my, and then I get up there and it was the same calm and peace that I feel now when I'm on stage. Not if I'm acting. If I'm acting, I'm miserable. But if I'm singing or doing my comedy, I'm just like, Yeah.
Wow. I love that because it's like a visceral response, right? And so,
Yeah.
when you're in your zone of genius, this is such a good message for all women in business who are the people that we work with, right? Is like you really know that you've arrived when it feels easy and joyful,
Yeah.
right?
And with me performing, like I'm like, I wish it was Zone of Genius, but then the head sets in. It's like, well, you're not that funny. You're not this. You're not that. Your voice isn't that good. You miss
Mm.
those pitches, like So I was like, but back then it didn't. It was like the bar was so low. I was like, just get through the Haftorah, just get through the material, just get through it. And like I know. I mean, this sounds horrible. I had no relationship to the material. I had a really
Yeah.
great teacher who taught me about the traditions. I mean, that was cool. But getting up
Mhm.
there, I was like, it's in my key, but
Yeah.
I knew I was a bad singer at the time. And so, but it was more about like the connection and just like looking out. And I loved the reading part. That part I was cool with. So
Mhm.
yeah, I'm like, I wish it was my zone of genius, but actually I have a really good transition. Speaking of bar mitzvahs, Rachel, I became a man last night.
Okay, tell me more.
It was literally after our phone call. I fully became a man. And by man, I mean like an old man. I was
You
at,
changed a light bulb?
No, oh, it's much more emotional than that, actually.
Okay.
It's kind of intense. I was at at a Whole Foods parking lot when I was on the phone with you, and then I went into Whole Foods, and I had to get vitamins because I'm out of my vitamins. I'm out of my multivitamins, multi because I don't want to have too many. It's
Right.
one shot deal. And I went to the section, the men multivitamin section, and they had 40 plus, so I got the 40 plus.
Oh my goodness. 40 plus vitamins?
Yeah,
That's,
not there's 40 in there, but like for
yeah.
40-year-olds. Like I was
Yeah,
like
I
I
get
own
it.
the fact that I'm like there. I'm there.
Yeah.
I'm fully
Wow.
in 40s now.
Yeah, you're totally adulting. I
I
wonder
know.
what's different about a 40 plus vitamin. Like, are they assuming that
I
what?
have a
What are
feeling
the,
I have a feeling that in the 40 plus department, they're kind of like, well, we could give you more vitamin B, we could give you, but you're at the age where it kind of doesn't matter at this point. It's like when you go to the doctor and he's like, yeah, like, at this point it is what it is. Like that's what's gonna be now. And I don't like Western medicine, like period. It's not my thing. I'm into like chiropractors and things because they know when there's an issue, like they know what's going on. They're like, oh, it's your left liver with the microbes and you need a needle in your pinky. Like they know. You go to the Western doctor, they're like, yeah, it could be esophageal cramping, it could be a sinus infection, it could be hernia. I don't know. Like, what are these people studying? Like, what balloon animals? Like, it's not exact science medicine. Not like I need it to be an exact science. You know what I mean?
I
Like
know,
what
I
what other
know.
thing would be like what else would be acceptable? I'm sorry, I'm very insecure about going to 40s now. So I'm like, but what other things, like what other processes could be that not exact? Like could you imagine like if Uber was not an exact science?
Yeah, right.
Like I'm in
Or my
Boulder.
husband, he works on airplanes. He's an engineer for airplanes. You can't like get it wrong.
You can't get, yeah, like with folks we're traveling. Folks, never mind. Like,
Right. Well,
like
congratulations on growing up yesterday, Ron.
thank you. It felt like a big turn. It felt like my second bar mitzvah.
Nice. Oh, that's great. Tell
Twice
me what
mitzvah.
else happened this week. I mean, that's pretty big, but anything else?
Oh, my daughter went back to school.
Yay.
Yes, and I think that too is part of why there's so much thinning here. Like I'm starting to see scope. But yeah, she's back to school, and last night she said, as I was dropping her off at her mom's house, she's like, I'm excited to go back to school. She's like, I can't wait to go back to school tomorrow. So
Aw.
we were holding off like until we were just like we can't anymore. It was starting to show wear and tear. Like you
Yeah.
could see in her eyes that she was done, and so they
Yeah.
haven't had a single outbreak at the school, so we're like, you know what, let's just do it, and it felt right. And for me,
That's great.
I'm still of the mindset of like, well, if Carrie says it's okay, it's okay. So
Mom knows best.
mom knows best. I said to Carrie yesterday, I was like, we still like live 85% of our lives like when it's just Ellie and I, like on our time. I'm like, it's still very much like what mama says, both of us are like, mama said, like, I'm like, you still have artistic control over us, like
That is
when it,
hysterical.
yeah.
It
So it was
must
very
give her
fun.
comfort. Wait, Ron, speaking of moms, I was going
Yeah.
to tell you, my mom binge watched the Rachel and Ron show last week. It was like, I think we had like a cold, snowy day, and she wasn't going to exercise and didn't want to go outside. And so she didn't realize that our show is recorded and you could go back and watch the previous episodes. And so she literally binge watched them.
That
I
makes me
just
so
think that's
happy.
so cute.
I love your mom, right? Does she have a sister? Like, I love her that much. Like, what? No, she
She
doesn't.
doesn't, but she's also like 70 something.
Baruch Hashem. The point is this.
Yeah.
That is adorable that you can binge watch us. Like, could you imagine there's gonna be a time where people are like, "Oh my God, dude, did you see episode 377? Rachel, what she was wearing was just stunning, you know? And her business
Yeah.
acumen and like what she said really like helped me out. I
Mm.
know. I'd be,
And Ron's wittiness and all the jokes, clean and not, and whatever. Yeah.
I know. I have to apologize. Not apologize. I gotta tell you, I woke up this morning and I said something very inappropriate to you yesterday. I made a dirty joke and I was so proud of myself. I high-fived myself. I felt like
Well,
you needed
because
a little humor.
part of my personal brand is like, people know I'm pretty put together. My English is fairly clean. It's just, I'm not somebody who talks dirty
I
in
know.
business. Um, yeah.
And I was
So, but
I was at
I'm
the
not
plate.
offended by other people doing it. Like, I feel
Okay.
like it really is part of my personal brand to show up that way. And that's my comfort zone, right? That's
Right.
where I'm can just most freely be me. And so, and I'm totally fine with other people doing that for them in whatever way that looks like. Like, I don't ever say, oh my gosh, she said that. No, like, that works for her. And that's great.
Well, and that's like I would say three-quarters of the battle, right? Like, and this plays so well into who we have today as our guest. But this notion of like having a clear understanding and a clear articulation of your brand persona, right? And how your brand persona exists and what is an authentic kind of line between you and the brand, right? So it's
Yeah.
good that we know that. Like, it's good that like I swear like a trucker, not to shock, but just because like rhythmically and to like offset, right? So like
Hmm.
I used to when I used to teach college, I used to go in and I'd be like, you guys on the effing way over here, or I'd say like F S, like I'd say all these things. And like the students, it would like you would see that it would alarm them. I never said it grossly. Like I don't do a lot of outside of last night, I don't do a lot of like real dirty humor. I just swear a
Hmm.
lot, but like, yeah, but it's so that's part of the brand, right? Like it's like it offsets, it alarms you where it's like, oh, he's using language differently.
Yeah.
Um, but I think it's a huge battle, right? Do you see that a lot in your work and with your clients, like where they go, and I think we talked about this a few times before too, with like how much of this brand persona is me, how much of it is how I want to be represented professionally, and that
Mm.
word professional.
Yeah. I mean, the way I teach branding is to get as closely in alignment with you as you can. I just feel like that's the easiest person to be, right?
Yeah,
So, like, when we start to contrive something, if it's not a way that we can live and show up all the time, then it's just kind of going to be confusing, because it's not like your business life and then your life, right? It's just all
right.
called life. And we interact with people in all these different ways and at different times, and sometimes the lines are blurred. And so if you're kind of representing two different brands or two different people in various settings, then I don't know, that just sounds like my mind is spinning. That sounds super overwhelming. So
Well,
I really believe, yeah, as authentic as you can be, to just where your natural state is the best brand and the easiest one to build.
and as like pre-hair crimped Rachel, which is I say it not that it's better, it's a different action figure, like
Yeah.
pre-hair crimped. Rachel told us like you said, like there's a big gaping hole in the market, in the universe, until you show up and do the thing. So it's like you're right, like it makes sense that you just show up as you and
Yes.
and fulfill that place because everyone else is taken.
Totally,
Yeah.
totally. I'm excited about our guest today because she is an image and brand strategist and consultant, and she helps people really bring what their brand represents, like what the meaning and intention is behind the brand, to the visual forefront, which I think is something that some, people really need support with. And I noticed this morning, like, you're wearing your nice blazer, by the way. I really like it. And I pulled this out. My kids were like, Mom, it's not July 4th yet. But I was thinking about our guest, Rhoda, when I got dressed this morning, because I went to one of her classes last week, and she talks about not wearing black, like that black is actually not a great color specifically for video. I'm not sure if she meant in person as well. And so I'm wearing this in honor of Rhoda. Should we bring her on?
And yes, but real quick, it's also Black History Month. It's the beginning of Black History Month, so we got to address, like, this is a very exciting month. Like, my daughter's like part Black, so I'm all about this month. Like, this is a huge month for us in our family. Like so this is especially a great, like, because you want to talk about like how we are honoring all sorts of businesses, all sorts of diversity in business, right?
Yeah. I mean, that's what we do on the show. We're just getting started. I think this is our 5th episode, which is exciting. But last year in 2020, I started doing some really deep introspective work around what it means to show up. Last week, we had a DEI training series in the Sheer Impact community, and our facilitator and trainer, Elise Bloom, who's really fantastic, she led this great session. And one of the questions she asked was, what does play a role mean to you? So what does it mean for you to play a role in this conversation? And I love when she said that. And that's really what I've been doing over the last many, many months, is thinking about what is the role that I want to play, feel comfortable playing in this conversation of making our communities much more inclusive, to create a sense of belonging for all, in my sense, all women, right? Because I work with women entrepreneurs, but for all people. And then what I came to was that I've got a whole lot of work to do on my own, right? To learn what it means to be a better advocate, to what it means to be a leader, leading these conversations. And what I ultimately came to is that I'm not a leader in this conversation, and I'm okay with that. What I can do, though, is create space for those conversations to happen. And so that's what I'm intentionally doing in my business, is creating that space for the conversation, for us to deepen our knowledge and our understanding and our education, and really learn how we can show up and be better in support of our Black and Brown friends. And so as you and I were talking about this, we intentionally looked at Black History Month as an opportunity to celebrate the voices and businesses of several of our favorite friends in the industry. And so that's how we landed on bringing Rhoda Johnson in as our first guest.
Awesome. Bring her on.
Let's bring her on. Good morning, Rhoda.
Morning.
Hey, Rachel and Ron.
We're so happy to have you. Were you able to hear our intro?
No.
Okay.
I was in the green room.
You were in the green room. Just
Mike
prepping your lipstick and everything, right? Well, we were just sharing with our viewers a little bit about who you are and our focus on celebrating Black History Month, and what an honor it is to have you as our first guest here in February today. So thank you. Why don't you tell everybody a little bit more about you, though?
Oh, okay.
Because I did not do it justice.
You didn't. What would you like to know? I didn't know what you said, so I want to make sure.
Yeah, I was just saying that you're an image and brand strategist and consultant, but like it goes so much deeper. You really help people. We were talking about building our personal brands, and you really help people bring out the essence of who they are within their personal brand to light visually. So tell our viewers how you do that and how you work with people, and then we can get into like the nitty-gritties of the cool stuff that you do.
Oh, well, I'm honored to do this work. It's such a great calling on my life. I start from the inside. I think that the way that we show up resonates authentically when we do that inner work of self-care. And I think especially now with COVID and all that we have been going through, that self-care really needs to be the priority. It's always been my approach, but I've really amped up the different ways that I support my clients and community, even in just these conversations. Um, when I'm walking, I know you're going to laugh at this. If I see anybody and I have a chance to have a conversation, that's the first thing is I ask them how they're doing with their self-care.
That's
We all
huge.
need it. We all need it. And I think that when we put ourselves first, then we have a better quality of life. We're showing up more fully present in our virtual meetings and our in-person meetings for those who are having in-person meetings. And it affects our work. It increases the value of what we're able to deliver, but it also brings more joy into our day. It gets rid of the stress and the anxiety and the depression when we focus on that self-care piece. So
That's beautiful. I hadn't really thought about self-care as one of the foundations of your brand. Wow, that's a really powerful point.
thank you.
Did you, it's self-care, like, did you come across that because you were seeing that a lot of your clients were not prioritizing themselves and their care? And then you're like, well, if I want them to show up a certain way or not show, if you want them to show up authentically, know that you almost have to clear all the kind of stuff that's prohibiting them from self-care, right? Were those kind of things that you started noticing as you were building your process?
Yeah, I just noticed that, there's no amount of makeup or wardrobe that can get rid of someone that's exhausted or
Mm.
stressed or depressed or full of anxiety. Nobody can fix that externally. And I wanted my clients to really, I really want to inspire this as a lifestyle.
Yeah.
So when they get up, it's an intentionality, if you will. Um, Everything that they put in their body, making sure they stay hydrated, especially here in Colorado, that's a big one. Um, and it's a hard thing to do. I don't know about you, but getting enough water in a
Yeah.
day is really hard. You really have to focus on that and making sure you're eating whole foods and staying away from the fast foods. Those are some temptations. And taking the time to exercise every single day and getting our vitamin D in nature, getting out and taking those walks, because we get so focused on our work and on our families and serving community that we forget to prioritize those necessary things that really are not negotiable.
That's so huge. I have a client. Literally yesterday, we were working on her podcast where she talked about this idea of, especially as moms, um, putting the mask on in the airplane, like putting the mask on yourself before the kid, right? And
Absolutely.
that is so foreign to most moms, right?
Mhm.
Like, why would I? No, I'm going to save the kid first. Well, you can't save the kid if you can't breathe.
Exactly. And I love that you brought that up, Ron, because that's exactly what I share with people. Put your mask on first so that you can serve. Because a lot of people are burnt out because they've been trying to serve from an empty cup, and you can't give what you don't have. Um, I think there's an African saying that if a be careful if a naked man offers you a shirt.
Huh? Like in general, but yeah.
Right. I mean, you can't give what you you can't give what you don't have, right?
Yeah.
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 I feel like you just described parenting.
I know. I as a parent and a grandparent, I mean, it's hard because you do get caught up in really wanting to put your children first, but they get a better version of you when you take care of you first.
It
And
is so true. Oh,
Yeah.
go ahead, Ron.
oh, sorry, I have one more question. Rhoda, so was this your goal? Like, I know an incredible past with like doing makeup for celebrities and building your whole process. Like, was that your goal originally, was to do that inner work and outer, or what was kind of the goal that set you on your path?
It wasn't the work initially, although those seeds were planted. my relatives who put a really my great grandfather, great grandmother, and grandmother. They had a love of nature, and my mom. And it was just kind of dormant, if you will. And then when I had a health crisis, because I call myself a recovering servaholic. I love to serve community. I love it. But I got burnt out
Mm.
because I hadn't even put myself on the list. And I started to take in all of the things. I actually went back to school for 2 years to learn a lot of wellness modalities
Mm.
to get myself better, but also to help clients because I had worked for prestigious brands for years and I couldn't understand why the clients weren't getting. I saw so many women come to counters and private studios where I worked that were just so exhausted and stressed, and it broke my heart because I thought selling her this lipstick today is not going to solve her problem. And I wanted to offer more
Mm.
for my clients and myself. So it ended up being later in my career, much
Neat.
later. Yeah.
So you you did that inner work and then have brought that and different modalities to your clients, but you also really looked at the physical, right? Tell us
Right.
about, don't you have your own makeup line?
Yes. So I working for prestigious brands actually ended up having just wanted to make sure that I merged elegance and natural together. So my brand is natural elegance, if you will, in all of the products and services that I provide. So the makeup that I developed, I wanted to create a makeup line for professional women. Professional women would come to different makeup counters, and most of the makeup in the stores, and I'm not knocking anyone, is glamour based, and a lot of professional women did not want to look out of place in boardrooms and other business spaces, and so it was really challenging to get a look without having to go to several different counters for them. I also wanted to give them an approach that would give them their makeup in less than 15 minutes, and also something that they could travel with so that when they travel for business, it wasn't time consuming to pack the makeup and it also wasn't bulky. And so that's what inspired the makeup kits that I developed that are color coordinated, they're natural in their ingredients, and they're for women of all cultures and all ages. And it gives them everything except for foundation and concealer. Literally, there's 30 full size products with brushes, everything that they would need. So, literally, if they're taking a flight and they're getting to the airport early in the morning, they can actually put their makeup on in flight because you can put it right in your purse or do touch ups during the day.
And like you said on your website, what is the percent? It blew my mind. I am so ignorant to makeup. When I was acting, like I had a Ben Nye kit, and
Oh,
that
nice.
do you remember Ben Nye? And so, but like that was just overwhelming. It was like every kind of, and I was like, I don't know how to, so I would just like I would have people help me out with it. But with I love that statistic that you posted on your website with what is it, like 30 to 50% more success. Your women are 30 to 50% more successful if they apply the correct level of makeup, right?
Yes, absolutely. It's
Can-
amazing. And that's why I'm so passionate about teaching correct makeup for different settings because there's makeup for business casual, business suit, and business evening. And I found that a lot of women wear one makeup style for everything. And you do want to tweak it a little bit so that it works. I love that you brought up Ben Nye. It brings back a great memory. The Hollywood makeup artist family that I studied under was Maurice Stein and his sons. I got to study along with the fourth generation that were coming up in the family. And they're known for Phantom of the Opera.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
They did other things too. They did other like fabrications too, right? Like, am I making that up? They did like Planet of
No,
the Apes?
they
No.
did a lot of other cool things.
Yeah,
I'm thinking of their store that they had in mind.
I
Uh,
gotcha.
but I'm sure Maurice and Ben were friends.
Oh, funny.
And
They were the
and
pioneers.
Velasco, huh?
They
I'm
were the
sorry.
pioneers, right, of the industry.
Yes, absolutely,
Rhoda,
absolutely.
I'm so I this like typically the show we try to keep it light and it's a morning show and everything. So I apologize 100% sincerely if this is a cutting edge question. But in that statistic, what makes what I couldn't help but reading into it when you said like that it makes like women are more successful when they have that level like of makeup. Is a part of that misogynistic though?
Oh, I love that you broke that down because I know some women get have a pushback with it. It's a statistic from Dress for Success
Okay.
that women that have appropriate makeup
Yeah.
and their image actually earn 20 to 30% more. And that tends to be the wage disparity gap for women, because there is still that inequality in the workplace, unfortunately. And I hope that we're able to close that gap the by putting women together, and that's the passion behind everything that I do. I also work with men, but my priority is women because of that wage disparity gap. I'm able to close that gap. My clients are earning 35% and more, so they're
Wow.
actually exceeding that percentage. I wouldn't say it's misogynistic, and I and the reason why I say that is because when I left Hollywood, I was doing makeup for a lot of transgender
Hmm.
and gay and lesbian community and drag queens.
Yeah.
And what really blew my mind is how much money and time that they spend that they want to do this.
Yeah.
And I thought to myself, women are not going to spend this much time and money, but I wish they could take a peek into that because there's a lot of straight men that have hired makeup artists because they enjoy the whole process is wonderful.
Yeah.
It's actually a form of self-care, really,
That
because
makes so much sense.
you get to work with art and color. And
Mhm.
art, as you know, is very therapeutic. And so, if women could change their perspective and see it through the lens of self care, and I get to do art today and I get to enhance my features and think of their face as a canvas because it really is.
Mm,
That was beautiful,
that's a
Rhoda. Yeah,
yeah,
I never thought
I
of it
like
like that.
that
That's
image.
amazing. Yeah.
Thank
Hmm.
you.
Sorry,
Yeah,
Rachel.
when we talked about having Rhoda on the show, and I was telling Ron about you, an image brand consultant, like we had a stylist on, I think with our first episode, but
Yeah.
I'm just amazed at how deep you take this work,
Yeah.
right? So I was in the fashion industry early in my career. That's actually where I got started in New York City, and then I started my first business in the fashion industry. And I wish I had known you at the time because it felt there were so many moments where I just felt this lack of alignment because it was so superficial and it was so much about the external. And I felt like I was working against the grain, to try to bring more meaning to the way that
I love
and
that you brought that up, Rachel. Thank you. And I'm
Yeah.
honored that I know you now. I hope that I get to support you. You know, color is a big part of what I do in my business, and it inspires the makeup, but also as you can see, I'm wearing color, and I just want to say I one of the things that can really help bring so much joy to our day is to wear color because it raises our vibration. Color is actually light vibrating at various speeds, and I know that we've all experienced it. And when you wear color, especially color that aligns with your own complexion and eyes and hair, it's a game changer. My clients have said that, and it's so funny, Ron. The men,
Hmm.
I had a male client, he fought me through the whole process of his image. And I get that from the men. And I put makeup on him because I
Yeah.
told him, for camera, as you know, as an actor,
Yeah.
to wear the makeup. And at the end of it all, he said, Rhoda, I wouldn't have believed it, but he said I was able to write an extra $40,000 in my business after
Wow.
implementing putting on the right colors, wearing the things that you coached me to wear, taking care of my skin, putting the makeup on for camera. So I want to make sure that the men know that they're included in this conversation about color too, because it does. We all need to feel better and to have more joy in our workday. Don't you agree?
Oh my God, Rhoda, you like, first of all, your articulation of this is flawless. Like I literally I literally had a shift in my brain just now, and I'm not exaggerating. Like because I thought when I saw that statistic, I was like, oh, does that mean that men expect, and then at the same token, they expect women to look a certain way and then they won't do it themselves. And I'm like, no, we don't let ourselves use this as a canvas. Like I don't know if this is congruent, but I have a tattoo. I have a Superman tattoo. I love Superman, and I love my tattoo. It's the my parents hate it, but I say it's the best thing I've ever done for my body. I love it. It brings me joy. It's color. It pops. I love it. Why, like in the same token, I'm on Zoom all day. Why am I not enhancing these beautiful cheekbones?
I love you.
I love you, Rhoda. Or like I have blue eyes. No one can see them because I'm always like blanched with my pale skin. Like I always go like base like colors, So I think I this really was a shift. Like I really see it. Whereas why are we not enhancing our features with art? We do it in everything else, with color, with shape, with style. Like these are our faces. We're on Zoom all day. Like yeah, no, I crossed the threshold. I'm with you.
I love it.
Looks like you found your next client, Rhoda.
Honestly.
You found your next client.
I get excited about this work because it really is. It's so much more, not so much about how do I show up, and I don't want this to. It's not cookie cutter. Like I don't put everybody in the same thing. It is about showing up in a way that's in alignment with who you are, because that's what it's about. It's about showing up in a way that shows your skill sets, your personality. It respects who you're meeting with. The other statistic is 93% of our communication is nonverbal.
Yeah.
And so on Zoom, with the focus being right here, what I call the box, it's so important that we're intentional about making sure that nothing about us is distracting and taking away from our skill sets and our message, so that we're heard.
And
that's a great takeaway for our viewers.
And I have to double down on that too. Like I saw some of your before and after samples for like women that you've worked with, and it is night and day. Like you see the difference. So I could see where, you're right. Again, when we're in the rectangle box here, right? Like, that enhancement, I mean, it's stunning. You are very talented. Like it's kind of not fair to other people. Just kidding. It's very fair.
I appreciate. Well, and I can't help but talk about. I don't know if you noticed that the other thing, because I'm an empath, I'm energy sensitive. That's part of the work that I do, is to make sure that the energy is in alignment, so that people are not stressed and nervous. And one of the ways that I help with that is I design gemstone jewelry. And that's on the website too. I don't know if you saw that. And anybody that's ever worn any gemstone jewelry will tell you it's very grounding, you're very peaceful. But like your Superman tattoo, that's one of my superpowers, because you get to experience that powerful grounding energy that's from the earth.
Yeah. That's
wow.
Beautiful. I know you
just. I mean, you've just like taken style and brand and understanding self to a whole new level. Is there anything you don't do, Rhoda?
Oh, you're so
You've got a makeup line that's trademark. I see your trademark sitting there. You've got these gemstone jewelry, the color. And I know you weren't watching earlier in the show, but I wore this jacket with you in mind this morning because I don't know if it's a little too busy, but I wasn't going to go black because you said that in your class last week. Yeah, but you are just like really beautifully multifaceted and talented.
Immensely. Rachel, what's funny? I feel like this is like when we have like artistically driven entrepreneurs, artspreneurs, as it were.
Artpreneurs.
Artpreneurs. I feel like that's when we go gaga, when we're like we get super excited, you know, like.
Totally.
Wow.
Totally. Well, because it's like it's really bringing that physical, right? The art of it, the what we see in the world to these deeper levels
Yeah,
and giving them meaning. And yeah, I mean that's where you and I like to go, right? It's like
yeah,
it's all fun and games. We can chit chat but we also like to go deep and really like get to the root and the heart of things. And so I think that's why this really lights us up.
yeah.
Oh,
And that makes your story so much more impactful too, Rhoda, right? Because it's like I talk about this all the time, where I thought I was going to have this directing career and everything, and now I have a directing career that's more fulfilling than I've ever imagined, because it combines all my favorite things. But there's also the women that I work with create huge impacts, and so I feel like I'm participating in a bigger vision and a bigger mission. So for you, like, how much more fulfilled are you now that you've combined all this work, right? Like, I don't mean to throw that at you, but I mean, if
no.
that's is that true? Do you feel more fulfilled that you get to use your empathic skills, you get to use that psychology work, you know, the healing work, as well as your beautiful artistry?
I appreciate you saying that, and congratulations on the brilliance that both of you bring to this community and to the planet. Um,
Thank you.
Thank you.
I can't take credit from it for it. I mean, God has downloaded all of this into me at different points in my life, and I just want to encourage anyone that's struggling. Every single thing that I have in my business was birthed out of a very challenging time.
Mm.
Every single thing. And so when life knocks you down, know that there is purpose in the pain. Pain is an awesome teacher, is what I have found.
Mhm.
And at 60, I feel healthier, I feel more joyful than I've ever felt. And when I look back and have conversations with the 20-year-old version of myself, I just ask her, how did I do?
Mm. It,
Yeah,
Wow.
is
I
she so proud?
sometimes she kicks my butt a little bit and says, "Why are you whining? You made a commitment." I remember saying in college, "I have an appointment with success, and I'm not going to be late."
Wow.
Mm,
And I don't know. To me, I haven't arrived yet, because my definition of success is being able to balance my life in a way where I can really serve community more. My heart breaks every night when I go to sleep, and I know that there's people out there homeless.
Yeah.
I know that there's people out there that don't have what they need. And so I want to position my business to where I have the ability to serve community more than I'm
mm.
doing now.
That's beautiful. And I know we're bringing you into the Sheer Impact community in March to lead one of our diversity, equity, and inclusion training sessions on the impact of community and how we can get out of our own smaller communities and into other communities and really break down some of those barriers through serving community. So you're not just showing up and doing that, but you're actually creating this ripple effect by teaching others how to do that, which is a beautiful thing.
Thank you. I'm so honored and so excited about it. I hope I get sleep the night before. This
No
is
baggy eyes, right?
this is my heart. My accountant gets upset with me sometimes. I'm trying to behave myself in the way that I
Hmm.
show up and serve, so that I don't hurt myself. But
Mm.
Yes,
yeah, I'm excited
right.
about the conversation, and I know that on days every day I wake up and just say, how can I serve?
Mm.
That's my mantra every day. How can I serve? Who can I serve? And it's not necessarily a client. I mean, it could be a person that I'm running into at the grocery store. Just
Mhm.
random acts of kindness. It actually, there's a science that says it helps our well-being when we're kind. And it's really interesting with the science of kindness, because we don't just help our raise our own serotonin levels and that person's, but anybody that watches it helps them too. So if we all start this ripple effect of kindness, it's amazing. We could transform the planet, really.
Yes.
I just love you. Like my serotonin level is through the roof right now. And I had an anxiety disorder my whole life. Like you are just like, I'm like so at peace right now.
Oh,
What a
good.
lovely person.
Yay.
Rhoda, thank you for joining us this morning and sharing so much wisdom, and also sharing just more about who you are and what you do. Tell people how they can find you and find more about your products.
Oh, thank you. Please come to rhodadesigngroup.com, and Rhoda is spelled RHODA, designgroup.com. There you'll find tutorial videos to help you, blogs. I offer a free image consulting discovery session. I offer a free makeup discovery session. I'm excited to support you in whatever ways I can. And make
That's awesome.
introductions if that's what you need from me.
Beautiful. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Rhoda. So great meeting you too. Like
Nice
you're
to meet
awesome.
you too. I'm really honored to be here. And thank you for celebrating Black History Month with us. We are so grateful. So
Thank
grateful.
you.
Thank you.
All right. We'll chat with you soon, Rhoda.
Okay, have an amazing day.
You
Thanks for
too. Bye bye.
Rhoda. Oh,
For real?
we say in Hebrew, neshama. It's like soul.
Oh yeah, her soul is like
Yeah.
deep and beautiful. Yeah. So I actually met Rhoda. I think maybe it was a year and a half or 2 years ago, and I could tell she was a very special woman. We had a connection call. I wanted her to speak in our community and lead a masterclass on branding and image and so forth. And it didn't work out at the time. And then she and I recently reconnected and had this beautiful conversation. And we wanted to schedule time to take a walk in the park, but we have it on our calendar to follow up after the girls' bat mitzvah to get a date on the calendar. But that's how she likes to connect with people, is to be outside and take a walk. And now, after hearing her speak and the way she talks about people and connection and how to really tap into your authentic self, now I fully get it.
Yo, I'm serious. Like 100%. I'm like, I want to go for a walk with her. Like that was so soothing. And
Yeah,
like,
just reach out. I'm sure she'd love it.
what a great way to also, like, what a great way to articulate this notion of coloring yourself, like bringing out your own color, enhancing. I'm still working that out in my head, and I'm like, because I was like, the last few shows I did, I was like, give me a break. I'm not doing makeup. Like if I was in a musical, I'd be like, give me a break. I don't need it, And like I've heard people say, like, dude, you're like this when the lights hit you, we can't see your ghost, And I'm like, it's part of the play, But now it's like it's fully changed my mind.
Yeah.
Like enhancing what you have and bringing
right. It's
color
not about
and
changing. It's not about changing you. It's about
right.
enhancing. Yes, I love that. And also it really tied back to what we were talking about earlier, which is how much do you kind of craft your brand versus just step into the brand that already is you. Yeah. And that whole piece of enhancing that is just, that was it right there.
Rachel, that was beautiful of you. You just summed it up as awesome as you always do. Let's just close it out right there. I mean,
yeah, man. Next week we've got some great guests lined up for the next, gosh, I think we have guests lined up for like 2 or 3 months out. People are excited about being on the show. We're excited about hosting them, and we will see you all here next Tuesday at 9 a.m. Mountain Time.
See you at 9 a.m. Mountain Time, y'all. Here, I'm going to do the thing. You told me not to say that with the, sorry. I love
what are we going to do?
What are we going to do? This is what we work with. Okay, here we go. Let's, I'm doing it again. All right. Bye, everyone. Thank you for watching the show. You've all been a great audience.